U.S.S. Enterprise NCC-1701-E. This is BlueBrixx Star Trek set 105685. It was released in December 2023 for about €100. This construction block set consists of 1,596 pieces, which are compatible to bricks by other building blocks companies like Lego, Mega, Kobe, and so on. This is a BlueBrixx Pro set. So in contrast to the special sets, we get a box with this colorful design, and we also get printed building instructions. There are several building sections. The bricks come in numbered bags, and each number stands for one building section. What I don't like so much about the Pro sets is that there are only printed building instructions. We don't get any digital building instructions. This is the Enterprise E. It became the Starfleet's new flagship after the Enterprise D had been destroyed in Star Trek Generations. I think they could recover some parts of the Enterprise D, and they included it in the build of the Enterprise E. The first time we get to see this ship is in Star Trek First Contact, the movie. And yeah, once again, the captain of the flagship here is Jean-Luc Picard. And we also get to meet his crew from the Next Generation again. Before we open this box, we will really quick have a look on the box's backside. On the backside of the box, we get to see that the completed build will be quite huge, over half a meter in length. BlueBrixx publishes these ships in different sizes. There are mini models, mid-size models, and huge display models, to which our set here belongs. BlueBrixx uses bricks by Xingbao, and this might become a problem. The Xingbao bricks work perfectly fine. There's no problem with the clutch power. You can interlock them without any problem. But those bricks aren't the nicest to look at. They got quite huge injection holes on their studs. And when we have a look here at the completed build, which consists of this little plaque, which holds some information about the ship itself, and the ship's stand, which is in the shape of the ship's shadow. When we have a look at the build, or precisely at the stand, we can see that the completed build will have a lot of visible studs. Not all of the studs are covered with tiles. And yeah, when we see these studs in the final build, we will also see the huge injection holes on the studs. It's not only a problem with the stand, but also with the ship itself. Here you can see that there are quite a few visible studs. I hope these Xingbao bricks won't make our completed build look ugly. Well, the only way to find out is to build a set, and to do this we have to open the box first. The build consists of 5 building sections. Here we got a bag which contains a lot of printed tiles and also some other pieces. This bag doesn't have any number on it, so I guess we will use the pieces in this bag throughout the building process. All the other bags have a number on them. I will start now to open all the bags with the number 1, and after that I will start with step 1-1. I will come back to you as soon as I see something interesting or something doesn't work as intended. Step 1-13. A few steps ago we have placed these huge 10 by 10 corner slopes, and now we cover their axle holes with these rounded tiles here. And I just noticed that not all of the axle holes are okay. So these three slopes here are absolutely fine. There's no problem with the axle hole. But the fourth slope, have a look at this axle hole here. It isn't placed correctly. It's rotated a bit. This is no problem for our set here because for our build here, because we cover up all those holes. But if you want to reuse the bricks of the set for one of your mocks, then you might run into problems. Step 1-32. With several BlueBrixx sets, I had a problem that the plates, or the longer plates, often were not completely plain. They were bent sometimes, but in this set so far, everything is perfectly plain. Yeah, this quality is good enough. Step 1-41. In this step we have to create this column here on which later the ship will rest. And we do this with the help of a Technic axle and several of those 2x2 round bricks with axle hole. This is always a bit annoying to do because often the bricks don't slide properly down this axle here, and we have to use a bit of force sometimes. And what makes the whole thing even more complicated is that we don't know how long the parts of the axle have to be that are still uncovered. So you can see here that down here and up there is a little piece of the axle which is not covered with one of those round bricks. And yeah, then we place the whole thing on the rest of the build, and then we have to correct the length of those two uncovered parts. And as I said before, often these bricks don't slide very well, and so this is a really annoying job. But here things are way easier because we got this little image up here, and it shows the Technic axle with the first of those round bricks. And we can hold our little segment here next to this image or onto this image, and then we can see that how long the uncovered part of the axle is going to be. Step 61. We have completed the first building section. What we have done so far is that we have built the stand and this part here of the ship. I think this here is the main deflector. Now it's time for building section 2. I'm going to open all the bags with the number 2 on them, and then I can continue with step 2-1. While looking for all the bags with the number 2 on them, I found this strange bag here. It says 2-4. So I guess we are going to use pieces of this bag in the second building section, in the third building section, and in the fourth building section. Or maybe only in the second and the fourth? We are going to see. Step 2-2. In this step we are using some of the printed pieces from the unnumbered bag. You can see that the pieces are already attached to a plate. This was done during the printing process so that the pieces are aligned perfectly and that you can print on them in just one single go. What we are going to do now is to use 2 pieces of each plate. So this piece and this piece and this piece and this piece. Now in the next step we use the remaining pieces, and afterwards the instructions tell us to throw away the plates. Of course, I'm not going to do this. I will keep them in my collection. Step 2-19. With the help of a lot of Technic bricks and Technic pins, we have created this Technic construction here. And it's extremely sturdy. I guess this is going to be the core of the ship's saucer section. Step 2-27. I said before that I haven't found any bent plates. Well, that has changed now. Have a look at this one here. It's really curved. Luckily, we will place it on the build and connect it with so many other studs that this won't become a problem. But it's really not a sign of good brick quality. Step 2-50. We have completed the second building section. These here are the pieces left over. Interestingly, these pieces here are also left over, but I can't remember that we have used this sort of bricks at all in this building section. Very strange. Well, let's continue with the third building section. Step 3-28. We are done with the third building section. In this section we have worked heavily on the underside of the saucer section. What's a bit strange is that we still haven't used any of the bricks in this bag here, neither in the second building section nor in the third building section. Let's see if we need all of these bricks in the fourth building section. Step 4-7. I don't think I have ever used the hole in this inverted 1x3 tile here. So we got this little clip here and we have to stick it in the hole and then we place it on our build. Like this. Step 4-15. In this step we have to join the saucer section with the star drive section. And as you can see, for this we have to interlock a lot of studs. So this means, of course, this wasn't too easy. We had to use a lot of force. But as you can see, in the end I was able to interlock those 2 parts properly. And the whole thing is extremely sturdy. Step 4-26. Finally, we need the pieces in this bag here. We need this 3x3 round tile and this jumper plate here. Step 4-39. We have built this little wing here. I think in a later step we will add one of the warp nacelles to it. And as you can see, we added a lot of printed tiles to this wing. And yeah, the tiles were attached to this plate, and now we are supposed to throw the plate away. When you look closely, you can see that there is also supposed to be a 1x2 tile on this plate, which we should throw away, which of course we're not going to do. But when we look at the plate itself, there is none tile here left. Strange. When we go a few steps further, step 4-48, At that point, we would have created a second wing with all these tiles here. And once again, you can see that on the plate there's supposed to be a tile which does not come with our plate here. There's a gap. Well, this doesn't really matter because the tile isn't used anyways, but it's strange. Step 4-49. We have completed the fourth building section. One of the pieces left over in this building section is this gear wheel here. According to the BlueBrixx product video, they originally planned to place this gear wheel here, where now we find this 3x3 tile, which we found in the additional bag. They noticed that that gear pieces in general are a bit thicker than tiles, and so, yeah, their build just didn't work like intended. That's why they changed everything to this tile construction here. But we still got this piece in our set, so I guess they packed all the bags before they had printed the instructions, because in the instructions we already find this tile here. And yeah, that's why maybe we found this additional bag. And I guess that they also changed the whole construction here a bit, and that's why we also got some additional pieces in this bag, which otherwise maybe we wouldn't have needed. Okay, then let's continue with building section 5. It's time for the warp nacelles. Step 5-59. We have completed the model of the Starfleet's Sovereign class flagship, and I think it really looks quite cool. The shape of the saucer section might not be perfect, but I think the warp nacelles are really cool. The whole thing is immediately recognizable as the Enterprise E. What we recognize almost immediately is that there are a lot of prints. This is so cool. So you can see, for example, on this plaque here, we got these huge printed tiles, and there are also some prints which go over several tiles, or these prints here on these special pieces. Or have a look at these tiny prints here in the back. It's just on the side of this, on this rail piece or whatever this is. And it looks so cool. This is great. Most of the prints are, of course, these windows and escape pods. We really get to see a lot of them also on the underside of the ship, but we will have a look at this later. So first, let's see what we recognize on the upper side of the ship. First of all, of course, the warp nacelles, and here in the back, there we got the rear shuttle bay. Another shuttle bay is here. I think this is the main shuttle bay. And here on the sides we get to see the impulse engines. Up here is the main bridge with the observation launch, and I think down here are the officers' quarters. Oh, I just dropped the Enterprise crew. Well, okay. Here, these hoses are supposed to be the phaser strip, I think. And I could have placed the hoses better. I think I will replace them so they touch here in the front of the ship. I think in the movie this is just one long piece and there isn't supposed to be a gap. But when I remember correctly in the instructions there was a gap, but I don't think this is correct, at least compared to the movie. What else do we find here? Oh yeah, here in the front, for example, this print here is, I think it's supposed to be the cargo loading hatch. It's a really cool model. Alright, then let me place the camera so that I can use both hands to detach the ship from its stand. Which, by the way, I don't like so much. It takes away a lot of space. It's better than the stand of the NX-01. It's way sturdier. But I'm just not a fan of the stand having the shape of the Enterprise's shadow. This whole part here just is decorative. We don't really need it. I think an oval stand would need less space and it also would look nicely. For example, the Voyager just had an oval stand and not a shadow thing. And I just prefer a smaller stand because I think the focus should be put on the ship and not on the stand. The stand is just there to hold the ship in position and it shouldn't look too fancy. It should be, in best case, invisible. So I think it's great that we got this black color here. Because when we have a look at this little model here, we can see that the stand is very visible, and yeah, this annoys me a bit. I think this looks way better than this, but I would still would have preferred if the stand was a bit smaller. Okay, but now let's detach the ship from the stand. This should be quite easy. Yep, that's all. Now I have to take the camera back, and yeah, you can see that the ship was only attached on these 3 points here. Well, can I turn around the ship? Okay. So, oh, you can see that these pieces here actually belong to the stand. They just got stuck when I removed the stand from the ship. Okay, so the ship is attached to this point here, and this point to the stand. It's all done with these, pin-like things. But what do we see on the underside of the ship? Of course, there are also a lot of details. A lot of prints here and here, more escape pods. Once again, the ship's name. Some windows down here. It's really detailed. And yeah, I think the main thing to see on the underside of the ship is here the main deflector dish. And once again, these phaser strips here. Oh, and here is a little Easter egg. It's the captain's yacht. Let me get it out of here. Oh, that's quite cool. the yard which was added to the model of the Voyager actually had window prints, so this is missing here. But nevertheless, we got a yard, so we shouldn't complain. Alright, then just let me real quick reattach the ship to its stand. I had very much fun assembling the set, but of course it comes also with a few flaws. Once again we get this black here, which doesn't give us much information, only the ship's name and its length. And there are also quite a few stats visible, and that's always a problem with BlueBrixx, because we get to see these ugly injection holes. The model is huge enough so that the injection holes don't distort the complete look too much, but nevertheless it's an annoying detail. The saucer section doesn't have the perfect shape, but I don't think you can do much better with only standard bricks, so that's okay. Compared to the other huge display sets, this ship looks a bit smaller, but I think that has to do with the elegant shape of the ship. But also, it comes with over 800 pieces less than the Voyager set, and also over 300 pieces less than the NX-01. And also a lot of these pieces, which are included in the set, are needed for the stand here. So that means the ship really uses way less pieces than the other sets. But less pieces also means that this ship here is much cheaper to buy than the other two ships. For only 100 euros, we get a very cool ship. As said before, I had very much fun building this ship, and I think so far this was the easiest display model that I have built. It was especially easier to build than the NX-01 with its complicated warp nacelles. The only difficult part here with this set was combining the saucer section with the rear section of the ship, because we had to interlock a lot of studs at once, and yeah, this needs a bit of pressure. This might be a point which you should think of when you give the set to a kid. I think a kid might have a problem with connecting those two bigger parts without a problem, but an adult shouldn't have any problems with building the set. As I said before, it was very easy, and only connecting these two parts needed a bit of pressure. But even if you didn't put too much pressure, don't put too much pressure on it, it still is connected. You just might see a little gap, I think, just here. I can't really remember, but yeah, this must be the point where the two parts are connected with each other. Well, I really like this model here, and this will be displayed in my shelf, I think. And I'm really looking forward to whatever ship BlueBrixx uses next for a huge display model. This will be cool again, I hope.